What drives a person to commit an act of violence in a place meant for healing? A hospital, a sanctuary where lives are saved, families reunite, and hope is restored, should be the last place anyone expects tragedy. But on February 22, 2025, UPMC Memorial Hospital in Shiloh, Pennsylvania, became the site of one of the most harrowing acts of gun violence in recent history. On that fateful Tuesday morning, what started as an ordinary day at UPMC Memorial Hospital quickly descended into chaos when Diogenes Archangel Ortiz, a 49-year-old man with a troubled past, walked into the intensive care unit, ICU, armed with a semi-automatic pistol, zip ties, and duct tape. What followed was a terrifying hostage situation and shootout that left 2 people dead, including the shooter, and 5 others injured. Today, we'll explore this chilling incident, not only to understand what happened but also to explore the broader questions it raises about grief, anger, mental health, and security in public spaces. How do such tragedies occur? What can we learn from them? And more importantly, how can we prevent them in the future? How could this tragedy have been prevented? Was there any warning sign missed by those around him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. UPMC Memorial Hospital in Shiloh, Pennsylvania, serves as a vital healthcare hub for the surrounding community. It's a place where doctors, nurses, and staff work tirelessly to provide compassionate care to patients in their most vulnerable moments. But beneath its reputation for healing lay tensions that would soon erupt in violence. Diogenes Archangel Ortiz, the perpetrator, had lived in New York since the 1990s after being born in the Bronx, New York, to Dominican parents. He wasn't unfamiliar with the ICU at UPMC Memorial. He had visited the hospital multiple times in the weeks leading up to the attack, including the night before, when his wife passed away in hospice care. Security personnel had removed him from the premises that evening, likely adding fuel to the rage and despair that already consumed him. Archangel Ortiz's criminal history spanned nearly 2 decades, involving various offenses across the York area between 2007 and 2025. Yet, despite these red flags, no intervention seemed capable of stopping what was to come. Grief-stricken and consumed by anger, Archangel Ortiz returned to the hospital the next morning with a deadly plan. At approximately 10:30 a.m., Archangel Ortiz entered the hospital carrying a backpack filled with weapons and restraints. His target was clear: the ICU, a place intimately tied to his recent loss. By 10:35 a.m., he had taken hostages and opened fire, plunging the once peaceful ward into chaos. Staff members scrambled to protect themselves and their patients, while others tried desperately to call for help. The shooter barricaded himself inside the ICU, using hostages as human shields. Among them was a female ICU employee, whose hands were bound with zip ties as she was forced to accompany him into the hallway. When police officers arrived on the scene, they engaged in a tense standoff. In a final, fatal exchange of gunfire, Archangel Ortiz was fatally wounded, and an officer lost his life in the line of duty. By the time the ordeal ended, 2 lives had been claimed, and 5 others lay injured. The entire sequence unfolded in mere minutes, yet its impact would reverberate through the community for years to come. What would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation? Would you try to escape, hide, or confront the shooter? Share your thoughts in the comments section. News of the shooting spread rapidly, sending shockwaves through the region. Families of victims and survivors gathered outside the hospital, anxiously awaiting updates on their loved ones. Tributes poured in for the fallen officer, who gave his life protecting others, and for the ICU employee who endured unimaginable terror during the ordeal. In the days following the tragedy, investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the attack. They confirmed that Archangel Ortiz's actions were targeted, driven by the grief and anger stemming from his wife's death in hospice care. This revelation added another layer of complexity to the case, raising questions about how unresolved personal traumas can escalate into acts of violence. The community rallied around the hospital staff and victims, offering support and solidarity. Vigils were held, and donations poured in to assist those affected. However, the scars ran deep. For many, the memory of that day would linger long after the headlines faded. The UPMC Memorial shooting isn't just a local story. It's part of a larger national conversation about gun violence, mental health, and workplace safety. Every year, thousands of Americans lose their lives to firearms, often in places they consider safe: schools, churches, malls, and hospitals. This tragedy highlights several critical issues. Mental health support. Archangel Ortiz's actions were rooted in profound grief and anger, exacerbated by a lack of adequate mental health resources. Untreated emotional pain can spiral into destructive behavior, underscoring the need for accessible counseling services. Gun control measures. Access to lethal weapons remains a contentious issue. While stricter regulations may not deter every potential shooter, common-sense measures like background checks and red flag laws could reduce the likelihood of such incidents. Workplace safety protocols. Hospitals must prioritize staff training in crisis management and conflict resolution. Employees should feel empowered to report suspicious behavior without fear of retaliation, ensuring early detection of potential threats. What goes through the mind of a perpetrator in such a moment? Is it rage, desperation, or something else entirely? Let us know your perspective in the comments below. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of societal issues. Mental health crises, systemic inequalities, and easy access to firearms all contribute to the prevalence of mass shootings. Addressing these challenges requires a multifaceted approach. The UPMC Memorial shooting left an indelible mark on the city of Shiloh and the nation as a whole. It served as a grim reminder of the fragility of human life and the importance of vigilance in preventing future atrocities. Through the stories of the fallen officer, the brave ICU employee, and countless other survivors, we see both the cost of neglect and the power of resilience. As we reflect on this tragedy, let us ask ourselves, in a world where such horrors occur, what can we do to foster a safer environment for all? Whether through advocating for policy change, supporting mental health initiatives, or simply treating each other with kindness and empathy, every action counts. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe for more true crime content, and remember, the fight for a safer tomorrow begins today.